feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Brian Giles from Brian Giles MTG. And hoo-ha, we're back with more Duskmourn spoilers. And we're back from our undisclosed location, which can be scarier than the plane of Duskmourn itself. Now, for those of you that don't know, Duskmourn is a plane that's been taken over from a girl named Marina by the demon Valgavoth. And he has grown in size and power so that the whole plane of Duskmourn has become Marina's house. And it's become haunted and twisted and warped by Valgavoth. So starting our list off, we're going to start off with Demonic Council. A black and 1 for a sorcery that reads, search your library for a demon card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Has Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, instead search your library for any card and put it in your hand, then shuffle. So it's a Demonic Council, a Demonic Tutor for demons. A Demon Demonic Council. However you want to word it, it's creepy, it's scary, and it's fun. Hoo-ha. Next up, we have Veteran Survivor. So, a single white mana for a 2/1 human survivor with survival. The mechanic that I spoke of in my last video that we were going to get to. At the beginning of your second main phase, which is the phase after the combat phase, before the end step, if a veteran survivor is tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. As long as there are 3 or more cards exiled with veteran survivor, it gets +3/+3 and has hexproof. So some graveyard hate, some exile, and if there's 3 or more, he gets bigger and has hexproof. For a single white mana, I'm all the way down with that. I'm not unopposed to it. It sounds cool. Next up, we have the first of our commander deck face cards. Aminatu Veilpiercer. White, blue, and black and 1 for a 2/4 legendary human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 2. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost is equal to its mana value. Its mana cost reduced by 4 generic. Now you can only play Miracle cards for its Miracle cost if it was the first card you drew this turn. So, hoo-ha. Lots of enchantment stuff going on with that. Pairs very well with the Myojins out of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So that's going to be a fun deck. Next up, we have another version of Winter. So this is Winter Cynical Opportunist. So, a black, a green, and 2 for a 2/5 legendary human warlock with Death Touch. Whenever Winter attacks, build 3 cards. Delirium. Beginning of your end step, you may exile any number of cards from your graveyard with 4 or more card types among them. If you do, put a permanent card from among them onto the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So, hoo-ha. Some graveyard recursion going on there. That's going to be interesting. Then we have Valgavoth, Heraldor of Souls. So this is a smaller version of Valgavoth in a commander deck. Black, a red, and 2 for a 4/4 Elder Demon with flying. His ward, pay 2 life, so he's still hard to get rid of. Whenever an opponent loses life for the first time each turn, during each of their turns, put a +1/+1 counter on Valgavoth, Heraldor of Souls, and draw a card. There's all sorts of fun stuff you can do with that. And I'm probably going to be doing all sorts of fun stuff with, because that may be a deck I might be getting into. We have Duskmourn, Mystery Unraveler, a green, a blue, and 2 for a 3/3 legendary human wizard with landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, manifest dread. If this was the first time this ability has resolved this turn. Otherwise, you may turn a permanent you control face up. So you can turn the face card up if it's a creature card for its mana value. So, hoo-ha. Next up is another one of the scheme cards, because this set is reintroducing the playstyle called Arch Enemy, where 3 players face off against the Arch Enemy to take them out. So this is I Am Duskmourn, an ongoing scheme. Ongoing scheme remains face up until it's abandoned. Beginning of your end step, you may cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you do, abandon this scheme. Well, at the end of your step, you can play creature cards or whatever. So you can only do it once, though, before you have to abandon it. Next up is another powerful scheme in My Champion Stands Supreme. Ongoing scheme that remains face up until it's abandoned. Your commander has Ward 2. Whenever your commander attacks, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. When your commander leaves the battlefield, abandon this scheme. So this scheme definitely for attacking commanders and commanders that can defend themselves from removal. Now, we looked at Enduring Curiosity before. This is the anime artwork that will also be featured in a special type of foiling called fractured foiling, which will probably be the chase foils of the set. Then we have everybody's favorite fear in the Jolly Balloon Man. A red, a white, and 1 for a 1/4 legendary human clown. It has haste. For generic mana, you can tap it. Create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature in addition to its other colors and types. And it has flying and haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning. Next end step, activate only as a sorcery. So there will be absolutely none, no disparaging comments about red balloons or anything like that in the comments section. Comments will be deleted and you will be blocked, no matter who you are. This is very serious. Next up, we have Peer Past the Veil. A red, a green, and 2 for a instant that reads, discard your hands and draw X cards, where X is the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. So more caring about cards in your graveyard. Then we have Split Up. Cards kind of hinted at in the Rosewater spoilers. 2 white and 1 for a sorcerer that reads, choose one, destroy all tapped creatures or destroy all untapped creatures. Because that's important in this set, whether creatures are tapped or untapped, via that survival mechanic. Next up we have Razorkin Needlehead. 2 red mana for a 2/2 human assassin. Whenever Razorkin Needlehead has first strike during your turn, whenever an opponent draws a card, Razorkin Needlehead deals 1 damage to them. So card draw stuff, Howling Mines, stuff like that. You're going to be pinging them a lot. So next up, we have one of our special guests in Damnation. 2 black and 2. Sorcerer that reads, destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. It is the Black Wrath of God. Then we have another card that was talked about in the Rosewater spoilers in Norrin Swift Survivalist. For a single red mana, you get a 2/1 legendary human coward. Norrin Swift Survivalist can't block. If a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it. You may play that card this turn. Norrin was a famous coward and that they spoke about in the lore of the alpha cards, and so he's always running away. So he's interesting. Whenever a creature, he's 2/1. He can't block. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it. Play that card from exile this turn. So we can test the waters when Norrin's out. See if your opponent's going to block, and you can exile them and then play them from exile. So hoo-ha. Then we have 3 cards. So one of these 3 cards will appear in your Nightmare bundle. Cryptghast, a black and 3 for a 2/2 spirit with Extort. If you tap a swamp for mana, add an additional black mana. Then we have Exhume, black and 1 for a sorcerer that reads, each player puts a creature card from the graveyard onto the battlefield. So, Exhume is our next card that's going to be in our Nightmare bundle. Black and 1. Sorcerer that reads, Each player puts a creature card from the graveyard onto the battlefield. Hoo-haw. Then we have Dam. So 2 black mana, sorcery, target creature, destroy target creature, creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated. And you have an overload cost, which takes each instance of target or each and makes it for all. So 2 white mana and 2 for the overload cost turns this into basically a Wrath of God. Next up, we have 3 horror movie poster cards that also will be featured in the Nightmare Bundle. First up is Living Death. 2 black and 3 for a sorcery that reads, each player exiles all creature cards from their graveyard and sacrifices all creatures they control. Then puts all cards they exiled this way onto the battlefield. Hoo-haw. Especially if you're filling your graveyard up with creatures, Living Death can do all sorts of bad things. So, next up we have Goryo's Vengeance, a black and 1 for an instant arcane that reads, turn target legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature gains haste. Exile at the beginning of the next end step. You can splice this onto an arcane for a black and 2. So for black and 2 added on to the mana cost of another arcane spell, you get this spell's effect. So you get a legendary creature back with a finality counter on it and haste. But it's not a finality counter because it works exactly how a finality counter would work. So next up we have Archon of Cruelty. For 2 black and 6, you get a 6/6 Archon. Whenever it enters or attacks target opponent, sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, discards a card and loses 3 life, and you draw a card and you gain 3 life. So it's beefy, but in the end, it's worth it. You get a 6/6 flyer, and you get card draw and life gain, and your opponents lose life. And sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, and they discard a card. So they're at a worse disadvantage than you were. Hoo-haw. Then we have Valgavoth's Lair. This land is absolutely one of the best lands I've seen in quite some time. It's an enchantment land. It has hexproof. It enters tapped. As it enters, choose a color. Tap it to add 1 mana of the chosen color. So it It's a mana fixer that has hexproof and is an enchantment as well. And we have Tyvar the Pummeler. 2 green and 1 for a 3/3 legendary elf warrior. Tap another untapped creature you control, Tyvar the Pummeler, gains indestructible till end of turn, and tap it. For 2 green and 3, creatures you control get +X till end of turn, where X is in the greatest power among creatures you control. This would absolutely fit in a lot of different elf decks. This guy is just powerful. So, hoo-ha, we're almost at 21 minutes. We're going to say hoo-ha. We'll see you on the next video.